Yeah, this is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Let's go!
Stack of Comedy headed our way for the Perth Comedy Festival, which is brilliant, including Irish comedian David O'Doherty, but the man himself, here he is. Hello, David.
Well, hello.
Ew, there's nothing worse than a COVID-y comedian.
I am testing clear now. I'm in the shape of my life during those.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
How were you during the thick of it?
It was more the boredom of just being on your own, especially with a comedy festival going on, like literally outside your window. It was like, do you know when Oliver Twist, the movie, where he's looking out at all the street traders, or who will buy this wonderful feeling? It was like that, but I was trapped.
Hey, David, we're hearing that you need to get out of your hotel this morning.
Yeah.
Are you getting kicked out? It's past the time that you should have checked out already.
Oh, it's 30 minutes past that time. But,
late checkout.
you know, I told them a series of lies, but now my lies are catching up with me because I have to go to the airport soon. But hey, it's okay. It's fine.
Okay, can I hear some of the series of lies?
Yes.
I love a good fib.
So I did say I have COVID at one point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Probably not what they want to hear then as regards me just coming down to reception afterwards. And also, it doesn't... It's not meant to slow you down as regards checking out. Guys, I don't have COVID anymore. We need to make this very, very clear.
That's a really good point. Now I've got to get to the airport. Hurry up.
That's
now,
right.
joking.
That's right. And he's playing shows in Perth this weekend. He's fine. He's clear.
Yeah.
What else
I
did you
also-
use?
Yeah,
I also need to say that I managed to do like 10 gigs at the Melbourne Festival and get COVID then. And any comedian who's performing in front of audiences and doesn't get COVID at the moment, I would say the audience maybe aren't laughing enough, and that
That's a great
comedian
point.
needs to take a look at their work.
That's
Yeah,
right.
well,
It's the sudden expulsion of virus particles because
Yes.
they're laughing so
Really
hard.
good point.
At you. Is that right?
Wow, I didn't know you were a scientist. But yes, that
Thank
is
you.
exactly the
Many things.
technical term.
Hey, David, when you were in isolation in your hotel, did you whip out your little organ? I mean, I'm sure you did.
Keyboard.
Your keyboard? Did you whip that out and giving
my goodness.
your neighbours a treat?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of listeners have this, which is I got obsessed with really specific YouTube rabbit holes. So I used to work in a bike shop, so I am still obsessed, but there's a lot of old men, adorable old men who have a camera on their forehead and fix bikes really slowly. You can watch it for hours and hours. And then one of the weirdest holes I ever went down was there's another thing in the north of England, which is, again, it's old men with cameras in their foreheads, and they go to rivers and they look for like broken bits of pottery, and they pick it up and they're like, oh, that's definitely like a Viking pot.
Viking
and you're like, yeah, right, it is. Yeah,
It's
right.
from Aldi.
That is amazing.
There, on that camera on the head thing, there was the funniest video of this old man, and he did the same thing, and he was on a train, and he was looking out into the majestic thing of the train, but he had the GoPro facing his head. So the entire time was a video of him looking outside of a train saying, oh, look at that
Look
now.
at that.
Oh, coming up here, there's this. And it was just his face.
So you watched that, didn't you?
I had an amazing revelation. I spoke to my parents a lot, my adorable 83-year-old parents, who I actually spent a lot of the pandemic with. But a revelation from my mother this week is, so she is your classic, she just asks me tech advice. That's all our relationship is generated into. And when I say, Mum, your computer's not working, you have to close the windows, she goes around closing the windows in the house. It's that sort of adorable thing.
That's
my God.
So
That's
the revelation this week was, so I said I had to do a Zoom. And she was like, oh, great, because I didn't think you were well enough for that. I was like, no, it's fine. It's just a Zoom. And she's like, but you have to dance around, don't you, for a Zoom? And then I was like, what?
Oh,
And it
she's talking
turns
about Zumba.
Zumba.
She was talking about Zumba.
Oh,
And so
my God. That
for
is...
the last year, when everyone says I have to do a Zoom,
Zoom.
she thinks,
She thinks
Yeah.
everybody's
God,
really
this
fit
Brazilian
to a Latin
fitness,
beat.
yeah, that's right. God, I didn't see the body on David now.
Remember years ago when we first heard about Pilates, I thought Pilates was spelling words out with your body. Like making a K and an L because it was on a special K ad. And I thought, oh, well, that's what Pilates is.
You did too.
Which was no good for Nathan because he can't spell very well. So it was problematic.
Hey, but thinking back, there were days when I was like, Mum, I've got 4 Zooms this afternoon.
Yes.
So she must have thought he's doing 4 Zumba classes.
He is a fitness freak.
Yeah, you are. Hey, David, I want to ask you about the books you've written and kids' books in particular, because we've had a few people who have come on in recent times, and you thought, what are you doing? Like, they're just putting some kind of book together, and it seems like they mashed it up in about 45 seconds. Now, does it take a while to actually do a kids' book properly?
No.
Yeah. So I have been writing kids' books longer than I've been doing stand-up, and for every stand-up gig I do, I probably do a kids' gig, and this has been the way for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I always feel that those, like a lot of celebs exactly throwing out crappy children's books, they need to go in the trenches and do the actual readings for the kids, because the kids just tell you if your book is bad. They just come straight out. And so what I always think of was, so there's a 4-year-old in my very first ever children's book reading. He just said, "Does this get good soon?" He stopped me that straight up.
What a great critic.
I love
That
it.
sounds fun. What's the secret? Because, I mean, from what my observation is that you have to put a bum or a fart in it, from what I've seen of children's books lately. Is that the go-to, or what have you found to be effective?
I mean, all I try and think about when I'm writing, because I write kind of longer books for sort of 8-year-olds recently. I've written it for a few different age groups, but with 8-year-olds, I just want to try and keep you awake. Mm-hmm. Like I remember, it happened about 4 or 5 times when I was that age, where I'd be reading some book, and like my dad would knock on the door, see the light on under my door, and be like, "Go to sleep." So I'm just trying to put in loads of cliffhangers and loads of interesting stuff. Yeah, and maybe the odd fart joke then as well. Yeah, but it's a fairly sophisticated audience. And also the fact that most 8-year-olds now have access to an iPad as well. Sometimes you have to be more interesting than the internet. Yes. And that's difficult.
I mean, it's a big ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? He's just
more interesting.
He does a lot
than
of
video.
stuff. No.
The talent we have here is unbelievable. I'm so glad that COVID didn't wipe him out.
I know. So you spent most of the pandemic on an island with your parents, is that right?
Yeah, we. I mean, it went bad in Europe at the start with Italy and all of that. And Dublin wasn't looking well, and my parents, they're 83, and between them have every known underlying condition. Yes. Like when they used to talk about underlying conditions on the radio, it was like bingo in the car with Jim and Ann.
Yep.
So we toddled off to this remote island where my granny had lived, which is mostly just full of angry sheep. We went there for a month and ended up staying there for 8 months.
What's there?
Yeah, what did you do?
There's a mountain. There's 25-foot basking sharks just off the coast. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just think this is too much nature. Like on the same day that I was almost bitten by a Connemara pony, I was bumped by a shark in the ocean. I just remember thinking, take me back to the city, just screaming at them. I was once on breakfast television with Dua Lipa. Now I'm here.
I was once on breakfast television with Dua Lipa.
Did the basking shark, was the basking shark familiar with Dua Lipa's work, or?
So was it just a long walk? Every day we just get up and go for a walk? Or did you have like chores?
Did you have to tend the fields and dig up the potatoes or something?
We did. We planted. That's how long we were there. We were there for the entire planting and harvesting of vegetables. No, the basking sharks didn't care much for Dua Lipa. They like New Rules, but not the
everyone does. It's a great song.
But no, I'd go for walks, and then because there's a lot of storms at that time of year, I'd find stuff that was washed up. I always thought that I was going to find something, that was going to, like a sign, like, Tom Hanks in that movie where he finds the volleyball.
Yes. Wilson.
Yeah. And then all I found, I hope I can say this on the radio, I found a fleshlight. It had washed up.
And we're not talking about a torch, everybody.
Sean, you lost that.
Different vowel there.
It's amazing how far they travelled, David.
Well, the ocean is the only thing that was really strong enough to wash it, wasn't it, Sean? And so you watching things wash up on the beach, that's where your obsession for the YouTube videos of watching old men
Fix
pick
bikes.
up pottery and stuff out of rivers.
Yeah, it is funny that I managed to avoid it for 2 years and then finally come to Australia and be like, I'm free at last, and then immediately get it. But it's okay. It was nice. My main concern was giving it to my mum and dad, and that certainly didn't happen while I was sitting in
not out there.
hotel
A lot of people though say, you know, once they've made that change in their life, the sea change, so to speak, which you did, then
They don't want to go back.
never come back. But were you yearning to get back into
the bright lights?
Well, the flashlight was the thing calling him back to the city.
Okay. All right, there's the answer then.
Yeah. Just his mouth open going, come home.
Oh, God. Because, I mean, when I used to find stuff on the beach, because my parents aren't that mobile, sometimes I would take it back up and be like, look what I found. And that was one of those situations where, like, I could have told them I think it was a vase or something, but it's
Imagine
just
coming home and your grandmother has rammed some flowers in it. And it's sitting there during dinner.
It's a great use for it, Shaun. Isn't it?
And the flowers are just smiling, going, woo!
Of course they are.
Well,
I definitely, I thought so much about comedy because, like, just comedy was the last thing that was coming back for a long time, especially because, like, they were really worried about laughter in groups. And, like, laughter wasn't the best medicine in many ways. And so I thought so much about this. And the fact that, so I had a Perth gig booked in 2020, you know, so I was about to come here, and I love touring around Australia, and then everything stopped. So while, I did it, you know, I enjoyed the time in the island. I was always thinking, God, I hope I can go back and do what I love one day. And
I hope one day I can go to the Regal Theatre again.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
We're actually looking at a picture of you on the Regal Theatre right now.
Yes, we're right across the road.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing that we all together went through real life Footloose, where we lived in a world where they banned dancing?
Yes.
It's so strange. Because remember, Footloose, like a town will never ban dancing, and like the entire
the world
country
did.
did. It's so weird.
Go to abandoned warehouses.
Well, there was a bad moment where they said that laughter is dangerous, and then they were like, and singing is dangerous as well. So all that left for me was just talking that's not funny. It was like just pure
spoken
TED
word
talk. Is that going to be the future?
Talk.
Just really dull, banal chit-chat. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, David.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.